How do modes of production define economic systems? Imagine a society's economy as a big machine that makes and shares goods and services. The way it runs depends on how people organize their work and resources. This idea is what anthropologists call modes of production. It includes the tools used like land, factories, or technology, and the social relationships between the people involved in making things. These modes help us understand how different cultures set up their economies and how those setups shape social life. Anthropologists often use a framework created by Eric Wolf, who was influenced by the ideas of Karl Marx. He identified three main modes of production: domestic or unordered, tributary, and capitalist. Each one explains a different way societies control resources, organize labor, and handle surplus goods or wealth. In the domestic or unordered mode, production revolves around family and kinship ties. Work is usually done within households or small groups, with no formal hierarchy. Age and gender influence who does what, but there is no central authority directing production. This system is common in small societies where people produce mainly for themselves and their families, like in some indigenous communities or subsistence farming groups. The tributary mode is more complex. Here, producers like farmers or artisans give a part of their output or labor to a ruling class. This ruling group could be political leaders, religious figures, or military elites. The tribute supports the rulers and keeps their power strong. This system was typical in ancient empires and pre-industrial states, where a small elite controlled the main resources and the surplus produced by others. The capitalist mode is characterized by private ownership of resources and means of production. Wealthy individuals or corporations own factories, land, and technology. Workers sell their labor in exchange for wages because they do not own the means of production. The goal is to generate surplus value, which is profit. Capitalism is closely tied to markets, money, and trade, and it is the dominant economic system in most modern countries. These modes are not always pure or separate. Many societies mix elements from different modes. For example, even in capitalist economies, households still produce some goods, and governments collect taxes, which is a form of tribute. Anthropologists pay attention to these overlaps because they show how economic systems evolve and how societies adapt over time. Understanding these modes helps explain why economic inequalities exist and how power is distributed. For instance, shifting from a kin-based system to a capitalist one can cause conflicts over land, labor, and resources, especially in communities affected by globalization or industrialization. Terms like mode of production, surplus, and tribute are key. A mode of production is the overall system for making and sharing goods. Surplus is the extra wealth or goods produced beyond what is needed for survival. Tribute is a payment or service given to a ruling group, often under some obligation. From an anthropological view, the mode of production shapes not just the economy but also social relations, cultural practices, and individual identities. By studying how different societies organize their work and resources, anthropologists can compare economies, see how they change over time, and understand the effects of global influences on local communities. In short, modes of production set the rules for who controls resources, how people work, and how wealth is shared. These rules influence everyday life and the broader social and cultural patterns within a society. Anthropology uses this approach to compare different economies, track historical shifts, and analyze modern economic challenges.